Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Vigilante in a beautiful hotel room in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ron Placone and I did the show last night at the Center for Science and Wonder, which is like an atheist church, which is pretty awesome. And a lot of people came out. Also, two progressive candidates. So you've got Michael Weiss, who is running in Congressional District 3. If you're in District 3 here in Nevada, you might want to look into him. He's a progressive Democrat. And then Amy Valea is running in the 4th District here in Nevada. So check out their platforms. They're both progressives, and you can't run as an independent in Nevada. Isn't that fascinating? You have to pick a party to run in Nevada, just to show you what's up. So it was cool. They came and they talked to people after the show, and you know, it's not just a comedy show. It's like a political rally and political activism with jokes. It's really cool thing. I hope you can join us for these shows we're doing in June in Nashville, Huntsville, Alabama, Asheville, North Carolina, Louisville, Kentucky, and Atlanta, Georgia. The ticket links for Nashville and Huntsville are at grahamelwood.com, and as we get the ticket links up for the other shows, we'll put those up as well. But it's a really cool night, man. It's really awesome. So what I want to talk about today was on May 1st, May Day. Of course, there was rallies all around the world in Puerto Rico, which had the hurricane 6 months ago and still has really awful conditions. They were, Puerto Rico's officials are trying to privatize schools and utilities. So people protested, and then of course the police responded with violence. Now, Puerto Rico, they are American citizens, but because it's a territory and not a state, they have very little representation in Congress and the Senate. But this is what's happening all over the place. The globalization of the world, and the Republicans and Democrats keep trying to tell us how great globalization is. I just did an article that was in the Washington Post that was demonizing socialism and talking about how great globalization is. Globalization is only great for the 1%. And, you know, I got this, there's an interview from The Real News, and I'll put the link to their video in the show notes below. And they're like interviewing. One woman's like, I'm a teacher. And it's been proven that privatizing schools doesn't make them better. And when we spend all of our money on war, this $700-some billion war budget, and that's what's on the books, it shows you how preposterous it is. And all people are doing, and you know, they interview one guy and he's like, we have no power. The oligarchs in Puerto Rico, the rich families and the corporations, we have no say. And then when we protest, they beat us down. They shoot tear gas at us. Yeah, which is a chemical weapon, by the way. So the Puerto Rico cops were shooting chemical weapons at, these are American citizens, by the way. And this is what, I've done several stories on this since the hurricane in Puerto Rico, that there is now like a mad dash to get these corporations in there to just buy up land in Puerto Rico and turn it into resorts or whatever, and further screw over the citizens of that island American territory. So it's, since socialism is gaining more traction because people are seeing how broken capitalism is, the corporate state is just reacting with more and more violence, more attempts, more like those articles. They're always connecting socialism with the evils of communism. Always. The Washington Post article did it. Always do that, you know? And they don't ever point out many countries that have a lot of socialism implemented and have for decades and how effective they are. They don't want to talk about that. And they don't even talk about regulating capitalism. You know, if they at least came in and said, look, capitalism is so out of control, but we need to regulate the shit out of it. We need to come back in and regulate it. I would at least listen to that. But when you're telling me how great capitalism is, when Fucking Puerto Rico. This is the richest. They're a territory in the richest country in the history of the world. And an awful natural disaster hit them. Basically twice. They got hit by 2 hurricanes. It should have been like up and everything should have been, we should have been pouring money in there. And no, we didn't. We didn't. And yeah, Trump went down there for some photo ops like all fucking presidents do, and nothing happened. I mean, they had a 3-day power outage in April, last month. They had a 3-day power outage. It's an island of, I believe, 3.5 million people. And this is how we're getting treated. I mean, it's not shocking. Look what happened in Katrina. And the corporate media after Katrina was referring to them as refugees. Like, refugees? Aren't they American citizens? And this is just this attitude, and there's such like an undercurrent of racism. It was like, the Puerto Ricans down there. What? They're American citizens. They're also, I don't know, human beings that went through an awful natural, that's not their fault. And we should be fixing everything overnight. Overnight it should be fixed. 6 months later, they're still having this, and then they're protesting because they don't want to privatize schools. Anytime someone tells you privatization, it's because that corporation and those people, those handful of people are benefiting. That's what that's all about. So I'm going to still pay attention as best I can to what's going on in Puerto Rico, and it just shows you how they're reacting. The corporate state is reacting the same all over the world. All over the world. People want basic necessities, and the cops come down and tear gas them. And I'm sure their narrative is, oh, the protesters became violent. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. You see the video. Cops, riot gear, gas masks, tear gas guns. What, really? Who acted what? So these type of protests are going to continue if they don't take care of things. So thank you for supporting the show. Thank you again to everybody that's come out on this progressive comedy tour. And join us in June and support the show on Patreon, and make sure you subscribe. We've got a bunch of new subscribers that came over from Jimmy Dore, which is awesome. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, so make sure they haven't unsubscribed you. Google is doing that a lot. And push these videos out to all your friends. Thank you.